What is your vision for the potential annexation of Greenland and getting them potentially to
Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful. And we'll be talking to you. It's a very appropriate, really a very appropriate question.
There's an issue in the high north, so the Arctic. So what you did, so when it comes to Greenland, yes or not joining the US, I would leave that outside for me, this discussion, because I don't want to drag NATO in that. But when it comes to the high north and the Arctic, you are totally right. The Chinese are now using these routes. We know that the Russians are rearming. We know we have a lack of icebreakers. So the fact that the outside Russia, there are 7 Arctic countries working together on this under U.S. leadership is very important to me.
NATO Secretary laughs as Trump threatens to annex Greenland, Denmark, NATO country. Yeah, he's been getting, he's always hot and cold when it comes to this sort of stuff, but this interview provided a lot of interesting takes, to say the least, whether it be agitating with troop presence in the Panama Canal, or agitating or promoting a troop presence in Greenland. It's just like, there's not really much you can do if you are a NATO country or a NATO leader, because NATO itself is basically designed for the United States of America. It's built entirely for American empire, American imperialism. Anyone who doesn't recognize that is being a little silly. I think at this stage, perhaps it's a little bit more revealing, considering how Donald Trump is actively talking like NATO is his own personal fleshlight, and these leaders have to sit around and laugh as though he's just memeing, ha ha ha. And I know you say diplomacy, but like, if America wasn't as powerful and didn't have this much presence over NATO and this much command over NATO, I don't think European leaders would allow anyone to talk like this. Viktor Orban is a great example. Viktor Orban talks like this sometimes as a European leader, and we all know how the rest of the European leaders behave around Viktor Orban, or how they treat Viktor Orban. Viktor Orban!
Make sure that that region, that part of the world stays safe, and we know things are changing there, and we have to be there.
Well, we just had an election there the other day. Do you see a referendum, a plebiscite, where the people of Greenland would be in a position to decide if they want to become part of the United States?
Yeah, it was a good election for us, as you know. It was not a referendum. It wouldn't be called that. It was an individual election. But the person that did the best is a very good person, as far as we're concerned. And so we'll be talking about it, and it's very important. Mark mentioned the word icebreakers.
Greenlanders want independence, but they overwhelmingly do not want America to be to come in and take over Greenland. It seems like even if the majority wants independence, they just mean independence from Denmark, and not necessarily an opportunity for America to come and get and annex them.
So we've ordered, we're in the process of ordering 48 icebreakers, and Canada wants to know if they could use them. I said, well, you got to pay for them. Think of it, Canada. We pay for their military. Canada pays very little for their military because they think we're going to protect them. But even with the icebreakers, so we're going to order 48, and Canada wants to be part of the deal. I say, you got to get your own icebreakers. I mean, if you're a state, you can be part of the deal. But if you're a separate country, you got to get your own icebreakers. Russia, as you know, has about 40 of them, and we have one big icebreaker. But that whole area is becoming very important, and for a lot of reasons, the routes are very direct to Asia, to Russia, and you have ships all over the place, and we have to have protection. So we're going to have to make a deal on that, and Denmark is not able to do that. Denmark's very far away and really has nothing to do. What happens, a boat landed there 200 years ago or something, and they say they have rights to it. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is, actually. But we've been dealing with Denmark, we've been dealing with Greenland, and we have to do it. We really need it for national security. I think that's why NATO might have to get involved in a way, because we really need Greenland for national security. It's very important. We have a couple of bases on Greenland already, and we have quite a few soldiers, and maybe you'll see more and more soldiers go there. I don't know. What do you think about that, Pete? So don't answer that, Pete. Don't answer that question. But we have bases, and we have quite a few soldiers on Greenland. Okay, one or two more.
There's been tension in the.
Thank you. We're looking at an impending government shutdown Friday at midnight.
Yeah.
Democrats for 30 years straight have said if there's a shutdown, bad things happen. Do you anticipate direct negotiations yourself with conference leader of the
Like, even this journalist is trying to ask a newsworthy question. He's trying to get a quote out of Trump that will, that will actually be newsworthy, right? Will you actually face-to-face negotiate with the Democrats? But he can't actually ask it directly, so he has to start off with like, well, the Democrats are hypocritical cowards, don't you think, Mr. President? But will you actually negotiate with them face to face if push comes to shove? This is how it works with virtually every question now in the press pool. Even if you need to do journalism and want to get like a newsworthy quote out of Trump, you have to start by saying, well, the Democrats are cowardly assholes, don't you think, Mr. President? Will you bravely face them in the field of negotiation?
Democrats, Chuck Schumer?
If they need me, I'm there 100%. It's right.
I don't really like this. I think this is definitely always had access journalism in this country, especially post 9/11. It's gotten significantly worse, but I will say it's moving in a direction that it wasn't in before. Like people are totally normalizing just glazing Trump, and everyone just says, "Well, you know how he is. You just got to entertain it," and it's not good.
2 or 3 people. If it shuts down, it's not the Republicans' fault. We passed a bill where we had an incredible Republican vote. We only had 1 negative vote, a grandstander, one grandstander. There's always a grandstander in the lot. But it was amazing. People were amazed that the Republicans were able to vote in unison like that, so strongly. If there's a shutdown, even the Democrats admit it'll be their fault. And I'm hearing a lot of Democrats are going to vote for it, and I hope they do. This is an extension, but ultimately we want to vote for one big, beautiful bill where we put the taxes in, we put everything in. We're going to have big tax cuts. We're going to have tremendous incentives for companies coming into our country and employing lots of people. It'll be, I called it in a rare moment, one big, beautiful bill. That's what I like, and it seems to be that's where they're heading. And we'll have to take care of something to do with Los Angeles. A place called Los Angeles almost burned to the ground. By the way, I broke into Los Angeles. Can you believe it? I had a break-in. I invaded Los Angeles, and we opened up the water. Now flowing down, they have so much water, they don't know what to do. They were sending it out to the Pacific for environmental reasons. Okay, can you believe it? And in the meantime, they lost 25,000 houses. And nobody's ever seen anything like it. But we have the water. I'd love to show you a picture. You've seen the picture. The water is flowing through the half pipes. We have the big half pipes that go down. 25 years ago, they used to have plenty of water, but they turned it off for environmental reasons. Well, I turned it on for environmental reasons and also fire reasons. But and I've been asking them to do that during my first term. I said, do it. I didn't think anything could happen like this, but they didn't have enough water. Now the farmers are going to have water for their land, and the water is in there. But I actually had to break in. We broke in to do it because we had people that were afraid to give water. They were, in particular, they were trying to protect a certain little fish. And I say, how do you protect a fish if you don't have water?
Fuck the fish.
They didn't have any water, so they're protecting a fish. And that didn't work out too well, by the way. So they have a lot of water going down throughout California, all coming out from the Pacific Northwest, even some from Canada. Thank you, Canada, very much. I appreciate it. Next thing you know, they'll want to turn the water off. They want to charge us for the water. But it comes up from the Pacific Northwest, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, it is brimming with water.